Every year, Missouri Southern State University gives out many scholarships recognizing academics, athletics, and many other talents. One of those scholarships, the Golden Lion Award, is given to area high school seniors recognizing their service. Joining me today on Newsmakers is Jillian Kennedy, this year's overall Golden Lion recipient. Thanks for joining us, Jillian.
You're welcome.
And so you recently graduated from Carl Junction High School, and you picked Missouri Southern to attend and play volleyball. Why us?
I think that whenever I came here on my visit, I just felt very comfortable with the team and the campus, and it was close to home, so I didn't have to go too far. So I just felt like I belonged here.
Well, good. And what does it mean to you to receive this award?
I think it means a lot to me just because I had a lot of people throughout high school and even my younger years like showing me what it meant to help other people and teaching me how to do those things. And so it meant a lot to me to like get to give back to other people.
Like your parents and...
Yes, and a lot of my teachers and like mentors and youth pastors.
Mm-hmm. And they performed works and that inspired you?
Mm-hmm.
And what is your major, or have you decided yet?
Right now I'm doing kinesiology, and I'm hoping to turn it into either physical therapy or athletic training.
That's a lot of work.
Yes.
And so you're probably pretty busy.
Yeah.
So the Golden Lion Award recognizes the service, community service, service with your church. Talk about the types of service that you participated in.
I did a lot of service projects in high school through a lot of different clubs that I was in. So in Stuco, we did blood drives, and then in NHS and SNHS, we did things like food drives and stuffing backpacks for like healthcare workers and things like that. And then I also took a leadership class where we read to kindergartners, and then we would do Team Bulldog and Special Dogs and things like that. And then outside of school for church, I went on mission trips to New Mexico.
And what did you do on those mission trips to New Mexico?
We did a lot of park cleanups, and we partnered with the churches in New Mexico in Albuquerque to help their community and do whatever we could where it was needed. So we put on camps for the youth while their parents were at work and things like that.
And why New Mexico? What was the go-to thing there?
Our churches went to New Mexico for a really long time, and they continue to go back just because we have a really good partnership with the church in New Mexico, and we see ourselves helping their community a lot, and we can really see a change when we go there.
And what makes that part of New Mexico, the Albuquerque area, what they tell you is their biggest need, or why they need the help?
They have a very large rate of homelessness, and they also have a very big drug problem in Albuquerque. So going there, it's a lot of poverty and a lot of kids that are growing up in places that they necessarily shouldn't have to. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we always chose to go there. Is
it kind of a sad thing, or like when you go and you see that kind of thing? You came from a home, 2 parents and siblings, and to see them without, how does that make you feel?
It definitely makes me feel very thankful for how I was raised and how fortunate I was to grow up where I did and how I did. And it definitely makes me just like want to help more and continue to go back, because I know that there's people that don't have the things that I've had and that the other people that are with our church have had too.
I bet that makes your parents proud.
Hopefully.
So your senior year of high school, you were really busy. You had volleyball, you did all your senior things. How did you manage to maintain all of that and get it done?
It was definitely a lot of time management. It was a struggle at times, and there was definitely times where it was very stressful, but I had a lot of people helping me throughout the whole thing, and I had good friends my senior year, and I had really good coaches and teachers that always worked with me around my schedule and what I was doing.
And so you were in your senior years when it was part of the pandemic.
Yes.
Did you feel like that had any effect on your senior year?
It definitely did at the beginning. During volleyball season, we were really worried about if we were going to get quarantined or not. And at the beginning of the school year, contact tracing was a very big thing at our school. So people were constantly coming in and out of quarantine and leaving school. And so we were really worried about that. But once we got to the second semester, things died down a little bit and everything went back to normal.
Mm-hmm. Did you have crowds in the stand? Like, were people allowed to come and watch you?
Yes.
Does that make a difference when
Yes, for sure.
playing volleyball?
Yeah.
Having that support. And you were also in National Honor Society. Talk about that.
We just, it was a good experience. We did service projects for National Honor Society. We did a book drive, and I think we did the healthcare drive for National Honor Society too.
So it's not just all academics. You do other stuff.
Yes.
But what do you have to have, like, to get into National Honor Society? Good grades, grade point average?
Yes, it's based off your grade point average, and I think the classes that you take, maybe. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember completely, but.
Did you take a lot of college prep classes?
Yeah.
Did that help with the transition to college?
Yeah, I think it helped a lot just because most of my gen eds were out of the way. So when I got to college, I could immediately start taking classes that were directed towards my major.
That makes a difference.
Yeah.
And you did just start. Classes just started. You just recently moved into the dorms. How is that different from your being at home all the time?
It was definitely hard at first, but I think we're getting used to it. And having my roommates, all three of them also play volleyball. So all of us having like relatively the same schedule really helps.
So, and you have that team support.
Yes.
So the dorms are kind of small, and you're pretty tall. How tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
How is that fitting into this small?
It's actually area? It's not bad. My other roommate is really tall too. She's like 5'10".
Yeah.
So, but the beds are not that bad.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And you said you were the youngest child.
Mm-hmm.
So how different is it now? You're not at home all the time. Parents aren't around watching you. How different is that?
It's a lot different. I adjusted to it a little bit better just because both my brothers haven't lived at home for a while, so I was there alone a lot. But moving out from my parents' house and not being around them and not seeing my brothers as often as I used to is definitely like a challenge for me.
Are you still a part of the organizations that helped you earn the Golden Lion Award, your church and the groups?
I still am a part of my church, but the other groups ended in high school.
What about the mission trips? Does that still continue?
Yes. The mission trips, the New Mexico mission trip is just for our high schoolers, but our church does have other mission trips that go to like Haiti and the Dominican Republic and things like that.
Have they gone recently since the earthquake, or
not since COVID? But
that probably put a big damper on things. And what do you hope to do with your kinesiology degree? What does that entail?
Hopefully I will either do physical therapy and work in like a rehab center or something like that, or I want to do athletic training at like a college level for sports.
Oh, are there a lot of jobs open or involved in?
Yes, there are.
And does the school help you look for things like that, or what does that entail?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Obviously,
just because
you just started.
Yeah, but from what I've heard from like the upperclassmen that are also in the kinesiology department, the teachers and professors are really helpful about helping you like choose your major and your career path and helping you take the next steps.
And the USA just won gold, I think, in volleyball, or a medal in the Olympics. Do you hope to take your volleyball career professional, or have you thought about that?
I think that I'm just going to finish my 4 years here and then work on my career path and where I'm going with that.
Okay. Volleyball's not like a long-term job goal. That's probably hard to get into on the national level.
Yeah, for sure.
Have to be probably bigger schools or bigger exposure.
Yeah.
And what is, I guess, in a few years when you graduate, where do you see yourself? Like, have you made plans, or you want to stay local?
I want to move to, I don't know where I want to move to yet, but I definitely don't want to stay here. I either want to go south or like up to the mountains and hopefully start a family and find a good job and just settle down there.
Yeah. And is there anything in particular about, like, have you thought about someplace like New Mexico where you've worked before doing those kind of things?
I've thought about it before, but I'm still not sure where like that will end up taking me. I definitely want to when I get older, like wherever I end up, I want to find something that I can get involved in, like a church that can help me just give back to the people that have been giving to me.
I bet that makes your parents proud. I mean, it makes me proud knowing you, just that you're give that way.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you being on our show today.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Jillian. After a quick break, we'll talk more about the Golden Lion Award and many of the other great scholarships and giving opportunities here at Missouri Southern. Stay with us.
I'm super proud of Jillian for her to be able to accomplish what she has and to be awarded the Golden Lion Award. That is something that she took on herself. We didn't have anything to do with it, and I think that just showcases her character and her commitment and who she is as a person, that she was resourceful enough, that she had the accolades, that she had the community service and was able to do that. So we have a pretty young team. Not very many of the girls have played in the MIAA, so we're really excited to see what kind of potential we have and to just foster our habits and our identity and who we are. And I think Jillian is a big piece of that. She loves volleyball and she works hard, and so we're excited to see how she can contribute to our program. Jillian's awesome. We're so lucky that she chose Missouri Southern, and she's not only a good volleyball player, but a good human too. I think the thing that has changed since the first time we started coaching is that we've learned to balance our academics, our community involvement, and being competitive on the court. I think that when I first got here, we were very good at academics, we were very good at being in the community, and then we just needed to add our athletics. And so I think the girls have done a good job of finding a way to balance all three of those things without sacrificing one. We do 10 hours of community service per semester per athlete, so we do a lot of community service as a team. So each of the girls on the team accumulates several hours of community service while we're here. We gave out backpacks to through the Salvation Army in Carthage just last week, so that's something we've done so far. In the past, we've done trash pickup, we've read to elementary school students, we've had lunch with elementary school students, so we've done several things in the community. So Boys and Girls Club is another one that the girls really enjoy doing, so we've done a little bit. Yeah.
Welcome back. Joining me now is Kevin Grime, Vice President for University Development. Thanks for joining me today. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about the Golden Lion Award. When was it started, and about how much has been given out, if you know, over its lifetime of the award?
Well, right now we have the 7th year of recipients receiving Golden Lion Awards. So we're currently in our 7th year, and it's close to $90,000 that has been given to that fund and then turned around and given out to students over those years.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
It does make a difference, yeah.
And what are the qualifications for someone to receive this award?
Well, it's very different than a lot of awards. You know, there's one thing we talk about at our banquet every year is there's a lot of awards for kids who are good in the classroom, or young men and women who are good on the athletic field, or performing arts or whatever. This one is based on service, community service. Mm-hmm. So really, it is just a matter of what have they devoted their extra time to outside of the classroom. Are they engaged in their communities? Are they doing things to make their communities better? And that's really the sole criteria for the award. Now, they do have to be a junior or senior in high school, and then they don't receive the award until they become a Missouri Southern student. But outside of that, those are the only criteria.
And is there a board that decides that, or who decides on the winners?
Well, there's a representative from both of our sponsors. So H.E. Williams is a sponsor, and then Nexstar Broadcasting, KSN and KODE. A representative from each of those organizations, and then our Director of Donor Relations sits on the committee that makes the decisions on who gets the scholarships.
I mean, Jillian is spectacular. I know her personally, but you know, all of what she talked about, all the things she did, it sounds enormous. Like, how do you manage that as a high school student?
I'm amazed by the resumes that we get from these students. Like, I think back to when I was doing in high school, and I wasn't doing community service.
Right.
I wasn't suppose I was a decent person, but I wasn't out there in the community all the time like these kids are, trying to make their communities better. And when you read the list of things that they're involved in, and not only the number of them, but how much time they devote to maybe one or two of them, or how unique some of like we had one student who was started a garden and gave that food to local shelters and stuff. I mean, it's just unique things that they're involved in too. So it's amazing. I have thought and I felt for a while that I think this generation of young people is just as a whole more connected and more committed to bettering their communities, maybe than any other generation before them.
Yeah, and you don't hear that much about that. Most of the time it's all about kids and their cell phones. So to know that they're more engaged in wanting to help makes, I mean, a huge difference.
It's hope. It gives you hope. I mean,
exactly.
because I think every person my age, and I'm creeping up there a little bit, but they hope the next generation is, I don't know, better, but I mean, going to be okay.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Like you're raising good humans.
Yes, and when you see what these young men and women are doing, you're like, okay, we're in pretty good hands.
Yeah, they're good.
Yep.
And how does a student get nominated for this award?
So anyone can nominate a student for Golden Lion. It can be a family member. It can be a school administrator, so a high school guidance counselor, a high school principal, whatever, a teacher. It could be a youth pastor at a church. It could be somebody at the organization that they're volunteering at. So if they're volunteering at Big Brothers Big Sisters, somebody there can nominate them. Very easy process. There's a form online. And so if folks go to mssu.edu/Golden Lion, it'll take you to an online nomination form that's very easy to fill out. And then we will get a hold of the student and ask them to send something on what all they're involved in. So super easy process. Didn't want it confined to like school people nominating. It could be anybody that nominates these students, and very easy to go through.
That's great. And so scholarships being available, is there like a clearinghouse or someplace where somebody can find, say they didn't know about the Golden Lion Award, can they find out what scholarships are out there?
Well, we try to get the word out as best we can on Golden Lion specifically. Through a lot of it is done through our admissions team. They go out to the local high schools and they say, by the way, they'll hang posters there. They'll talk to the counselors there about it and try to promote it that way. As far as other scholarships that are available through the foundation, so the foundation accepts private money from donors who want to impact students through scholarships, in addition to other things, facilities and whatever else. But in the case of scholarships, we don't really have a list of all of them that are available because there's hundreds of them. So we have tried to make the process of qualifying for one of these scholarships as easy as possible on our students. So when they fill out their FAFSA, which they have to do each year, there is a link to an online form for foundation scholarships, and they fill out one form. They do not have to fill out an application for 10 different scholarships that they're interested in or they're qualified for. So basically they fill out one form. Our financial aid team, scholarship coordinator, they just do an amazing job of getting these students slotted into every scholarship that they could possibly fit as far as criteria go, and then those individual committees make the decision on who gets the scholarships. Try to factor in, are they receiving other aid? We try to spread it around to as many different students as possible. Financial need is factored in. So there's all kinds of factors that play in, but like I said, we didn't want the students to have to decide, well, am I eligible for this one but not eligible for this one, so they just fill out one form and they're slotted appropriately.
Are there any that go unused each year? Or
there's hopefully not many, but occasionally, sometimes a donor might say, we try, when we work with new donors on new scholarships, we try to get them to make it as broad as possible so that we can use that money. There have been some scholarships that are pretty specific. And sometimes if they get too specific, then it's hard to give that one away. If it has to be for a student from a specific town and a specific major, sometimes we may not have that student, or they may not have applied for the foundation scholarship. So try to keep that as broad as possible and try to keep the number of times where a scholarship goes unawarded as few as possible.
Right. And with enrollment numbers are down probably across the country. Part of it's, I guess, due to COVID or the pandemic. What type of donations, or what opportunities are there for people to give and donate for scholarships?
Yeah, right on our website, upper right-hand corner. I know where it is. I click on it all the time. It's a giving link, and so you can always go there and make a donation and designate that for student scholarships. If you know a specific scholarship that you would like to add to over the years, that can be done online as well. But always like to encourage people who are considering gifts, especially to scholarships, to give us a call at the development office and talk through what impact you want to make. The best donor experience is one where the donor feels really good about what they're doing. And so we want them to be able to talk to us and say, here's what I want to accomplish with my gift, whether it's a scholarship gift or facility gift or whatever, departmental support. We want them to feel good about what they're doing. So oftentimes that requires, a conversation, which we love to have with folks and love to direct that money where it can make the impact that they want it to make.
Did the pandemic have an effect on giving, better or worse?
Well, larger gifts, it did not have an impact. We had a very good year. In fact, as far as total dollars raised, it was our best year ever.
That's great.
This last year.
I've heard that from other companies, or not companies, but organizations who rely on donor gifts, that people really dug deep and felt it.
They did, and we're appreciative of that. I think that it decreased numbers of donors. We saw a little dip in the number of total donors. And so maybe some of the gifts that were not considered major gifts, a few of those were less this year or didn't happen this year. So that's upon us to try to re-engage those folks and get them back on board. But we didn't really see too much of an impact as far as the larger gifts go.
And I understand that this year we're doing our homecoming parade, or trying to do our homecoming parade downtown Joplin, and that some of our sponsors are helping out with prize money. And that's phenomenal to be able to give back to the campus community as well and get people involved.
I think that kind of just shows the variety of things that people can give to. I think one of the great things about higher ed fundraising is you almost can't come to us with an idea for a gift that doesn't benefit Missouri Southern somehow.
Right.
So we've talked about student scholarships. You just mentioned homecoming parade sponsorship.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a long way apart.
Yeah.
And yet the person who wants to support the homecoming parade can do that with a gift to the Missouri Southern Foundation. The person that wants to support student scholarships can do that. I've mentioned facilities gifts. We've upgraded and added facilities on campus over the years thanks to donor support.
Right.
Departmental support is critical. So somebody has an affinity for biology, yet they don't maybe want to start a scholarship, but they remember that they had a great experience in the biology department while they were here. And they want to support that area, which supports students without doing it through scholarships. There's all kinds of different ways that people can support Missouri Southern, and we can make it fit. We can make them feel good about where they're doing that at.
Well, and if you have anybody who just wants to give money, the TV station always needs money. We always need upgrades here and there. So
You do a telethon.
Yeah, right. Oh, totally.
There we go. We'll do a telethon.
We totally need to do something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming out and talking about all the opportunities.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and we always love getting the word out about that, and it's critical. It's very important. I mean, Missouri Southern can provide a good educational experience, but private money and donor-funded money can take that experience to a different level, and so we appreciate all of our donors and what they do for our students.
Well, great. Thanks so much for joining us, Kevin.
Thank you.
I want to thank Kevin Grime, Vice President for University Development, and Jillian Kennedy, overall Golden Lion Award recipient, for joining me today. This is Newsmakers on KGCS TV from the Ruth Copeland Studios here at Missouri Southern State University, and I'm Bobby Potroff. We'll see you again soon.
Hi, my name is Justin Smith. I'm a health science paramedic major here at Southern, and I'm from the St. Louis area. I came to Missouri Southern originally because of the paramedic program here. I toured before, and there's not very many places in the United States where you can actually get a bachelor's degree while also pursuing a paramedic education. Coming to Missouri Southern, obviously I was very attracted to the health science program. That's the reason I came down here. And I will say it was kind of a hidden gem going through my tour. I saw the campus, saw the classrooms, then I got up here and saw their extremely interactive mannequins. That's as close as treating a real patient as you can get. And that was definitely something that brought me to this program. The program here at Southern is the only program in the country that has not one but two simulated ambulances. Again, getting as close as you can to actually treating patients out in the field in a simulated environment. It's awesome. It gives you that muscle memory of reaching for everything you need and kind of working in that kind of confined space that you find in the ambulance. Between them two, I would say got almost 40 plus years of experience in EMS. That really kind of molds our education. They got stories for everything, and I know they're very up to date with today's research in EMS, and they're very progressive with their kind of education they do here. It's not just reading out of a textbook, we go off real world evidence. Whenever I first came down here, it kind of gave me that small town feel, and same with the college. It was unusual to be walking to class and seeing somebody I'm friends with, and you don't really get that in a bigger campus. Again, it kind of comes back to the level and quality of education you're going to get. It's not very common. I know especially where I went to EMT school, they didn't have the simulation, they didn't have the equipment that you would be using in the field. It was all the outdated stuff that they've been reusing for 30 years. Coming here, I was able to get my hands on equipment that I'm going to be using and currently am using at my job right now. And I also get to kind of work with some other technology that you don't normally see in the field. And again, you only get that from a progressive environment from an education standpoint. I really like Missouri Southern because it's kind of a smaller campus feel, but it also has the amenities that you get from a larger campus. You don't really feel like there's not enough stuff to do, and there's classes for almost everything you want to take. I came down here, all the people were really nice, all the faculty were very welcoming. It was very easy to kind of make that adjustment and meet new people, especially joining a fraternity when I came down here. I was able to make a lot of really good friends really quickly. It's been wonderful. I know I made the right choice, and coming up to taking my national registry, I feel ready to take it.